All right, Jim. Well, before we move on, I'm going to play you some audio because a lot of people have been sending it in, a lot of the listeners. We're going to talk about Dynamite in a bit, but Tony Khan had a media call for the Ring of Honor event. I forget which one it is. Is it Death Before Dishonor?
I think the dishonor has already gotten here.
Honor used to be here. Honor doesn't live here anymore, whatever the name of the pay-per-view event is.
Rolls Royce, you've abandoned me. Honor don't live here anymore. Ding, 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 ding. So what did Tony the Tiger have to say?
Well, we have some audio here. This is from the Brandon Thurston Twitter account, seemingly run by Brandon Thurston.
the aforementioned. Copyright Brandon Thurston, all rights reserved by Brandon Thurston.
But this is from the media call for the Ring of Honor event. A question about a rumor going around. I don't know if you had really seen it on social media, but in the days leading into this call yesterday, rumors going around that the Warner Brother Discovery AEW deal is done, that they're just waiting to finalize it, but it's done.
I heard there was a rumor going around the town that they didn't want Tony around.
Well, there are rumors, so apparently Brandon Thurston asked Tony about it. Let's go to this. We'll break it up and talk about whatever we hear here that's interesting. Let's go to this.
I was wondering if you could tell us if there's any truth to the report that there's an agreement in principle between AEW and WBD for a TV renewal.
Well, we're having great talks.
Oh, Jesus.
It's still in conversation, so I think that would be premature to say that, we're all set and done, because that's, still what we're working on. So having great talks, including today, and have had some great meetings with the executive team, Mr. Zasloff, Kathleen Finch, Bruce Campbell, and the great people at Warner Brothers Discovery. They've been...
Okay, you got to back off the mic a little bit with that dinger.
I'll ding
Captain Ding
farther away.
All right, let's go back
Uncle
to Tony.
Ding.
That's put a lot of time in and had a lot of great meetings and conversations. So it's still something we're all working on together. So, I think it would be premature to say that for sure. But also important to note that it's a very good ongoing dialogue that we're having. Thanks.
Well, let's stop right there. He won't say that the deal's done because that's premature, but they're having a good dialogue. So he basically did answer the question, just did it as uneasily and unwieldily as he could. He could have just said, the deal's not done, we're still talking, but we're optimistic. Something, but instead you got that word salad.
Well, he's torturing the syntax to the point where it ought to be against the Geneva Convention. But the point is that as everything Tony does, he uses so many. He says the same thing. I'm going to fuck this up now, but I'm starting to do it. He says the same thing over and over, slightly changing the words each time to where he says 4 times as many words as it would have taken for him to just answer the fucking question. And that tends to come off like a car salesman or like somebody trying to talk somebody else or themselves into something. Do you see what I'm saying? Where it comes off as, because he's so superlative about it and everything's so great that it almost comes off as, oh shit, we're fucked. Do you get that?
I get that. I also get that clearly he has either been trained or he thinks this is the effective way to speak to the press, but he comes across with less and less credibility the more he talks to the wrestling press, or any press, really. And everything's great. Everything's going great. It's almost like he's trying to will it to happen. Yes,
that's what he's trying to talk himself into it.
But if it doesn't happen, he's going to have a lot of egg on his face. Let's go back to this.
Well, and by the way, and we're not going to say it is or it's not. And now the NBA thing, let's just sidetrack for a second here, unless that's contained in any of this audio we're going to listen to.
No. Let's talk about, that's an ongoing story right now. They got, the lawsuit was launched this morning, I believe.
Well, then for the folks out there who actually have happy lives and don't have to worry about any of these motherfuckers, the NBA wants to give the package that Warner Brothers Discovery has had on TNT, TBS, whatever the fuck, wants to not give it to, but sell it to Amazon, right? Or was it Amazon? Is Netflix? Who's getting this fucking thing? The streaming people.
It was Amazon, yeah.
Okay. And the WBD executives had the right to match any deal that they were offered over at the NBA, and they could keep the deal. And they claim, and we've heard this story before, but they claim that they matched it. But then the NBA said, no, it's not matched because it's not the equivalent of blah, blah, blah. And each side has hunkered down on their position. So the NBA has announced this deal and that this package is going to Amazon and all the, just like, yeah, we're doing this. And did you see the tweet from TNT Network or whatever? It was legitimate that, no, we believe we have fulfilled our rights and will be seeking remedy for this in a court of law. And so before this thing comes about, one would think that if they are this intent over at WBD of putting a wrench in this thing, that they would be able to get an injunction. So is the money spent yet? Because everybody was talking about, point I was trying to make, if they were going to spend over $1 billion for the NBA, could they afford to keep the lesser programs? Or if they weren't going to spend $1 billion, were they going to be more apt to spend for the programs they already have that produce something? But now, do they actually know whether they're going to be spending the $1 billion or not?
Everything's up in the air right now.
So Brian, when you're doing your household budget there at Last Manor, if there's this little line item where you're not sure that you're going to be spending $1 billion or not, are you going to give the fucking milkman a raise?
No.
So I don't think they know what the fuck is going on over there yet.
Well, let's go back to Tony Khan.
We may have a couple more write-ins here, actually, Tony, but Brian, you're up next.
Oh, hi.
Oh.
Hey, Jim, can I tell you something?
What?
Yes,
what?
sir.
Or Brian, you know what's interesting?
Let's stop it there for a moment.
What the fuck is going on here?
Was he talking to us?
I'm scared if he was. Is it somebody infiltrated my fucking headphones? Was that the press scrum audio? Hey, Brian. Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim, can I ask you something? Well, sure, Brian. Who are these people? Goddamn, they're pretenders.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go back a second and we'll jump back in here.
Brian, you're up next.
Hey, Jim, can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
Or Brian, you know what's interesting?
Yes, sir.
You know, I don't usually do this, but since Brandon brought it up and asked, you know, I had a major member of the wrestling media mention to me yesterday, WWE is telling people that, and I don't know why WWE is telling people about our media rights deal. I don't really know what it's any of their business. I don't really understand why WWE PR calls people and talks about my business. WWE PR is telling people that the deal is done and that the deal is done at the same level that it was going to be our previous deal. That's not the case. I don't know why WWE PR and why major wrestling media members who are very credible and have never lied to me are, you know, I don't know why they're telling people that. It's none of their business. I think WWE PR really gets involved in a lot of things they shouldn't get involved in.
Can we hold on one second?
Yeah.
Can we just find out who is WWE PR? I know we got EVPs, but who's WWE PR? We got to find that son of a bitch, root him out. He loose lips sink ships. He's a big mouth.
The other interesting thing is the gentleman who used to work for WWE PR, who left maybe a year ago or so, went to work for AEW. So you would think Tony may have the inside track on at least a previous iteration of WWE's operations and PR, but there's a little bit more here. But
I know, and we're going to go back to it, but I just want to make the statement right now He said, a member of the wrestling media who I trust said of WWE PR, some guy in a fucking office is probably rattling some marked journalist fucking cage. I don't think this is a concerted effort or an orchestrated corporate espionage plot to slander Tony Khan to the fucking New York Times, but play the rest of it because I'm sure he disagrees with me.
Do you think it's problematic if it's as simple as someone in the wrestling media hits up WWE PR for whatever reason, they're chit-chatting, and the guy says, you know, we hear a rumor or we've heard that the deal is done, that it's the same thing. Is there anything wrong with saying that if you're chit-chatting with someone who may bother PR all the time for wrestling news or confirmations or whatever it may be?
No. You say, hey, I bet you, or I heard, or any of those things, yeah, the deal's done, or they're not going to get the deal, or blah, blah, blah. You still have to kind of investigate that a little further. But by the same token, you're going to bound to have that happen because I'm sure on personal conversations, people that work for the WWE are going, yeah, that fucking amateur hour bullshit. Because why not? Look at it.
The two options are basically he's saying either WWE PR independently is doing this, or the other implied thought would be that someone is directing them to do this.
No, that's why he keeps saying WWE. He can't say, yeah, I know a guy that does a newsletter that talks to somebody that worked in the office. That doesn't sound glorious enough, like a concerted effort that they're talking about at the WWE board meetings.
Nick Khan is my boogeyman. He hasn't said that.
But when he can say WWE PR like they're an official branch of it's like the WWE fucking Secret Service and they're here to plant disinformation, it sounds like that he wants people to think that the WWE is afraid of him and upset with him and trying to fuck with him on a regular and widespread basis because that makes his company look like it's something. And, again, I'm not saying that nobody in the WWE office or that works for the company is not going to go, yeah, these fucking jolly jokers, every chance they get about AEW, and probably most of them mean everything they say. But it's not like when AEW was an idea, had not been announced or had been announced but hadn't been put into practice yet, that's when they were offering at the WWE considerably more money to renew people because, we're going to lose talent, a billionaire, blah, blah, blah. After they saw it, they started firing all those people they gave big raises to because they were like, what the fuck? These guys won't help that. And now the money's so out of whack with the universe that the WWE's working in these days anyway, that but go ahead. I digressed.
I tell you that is very untrue because when we make a deal for AEW, it's going to be a great deal with a big increase over what we've been doing. We're in a really good position. We've been doing great business here despite what they're trying to do to us. Thanks.
Despite what they're trying to do to us.
As if that would affect the booking or anything, what they're trying to do. And again, that's the one thing Tony never admits to or really comes around on, the fact that there are booking issues that are institutional at this point with AEW because it's all coming from his head. But the idea that he just said out loud, we are going to get a big increase. We're going to have a great deal. Unless you know you have the deal done, saying these things out loud isn't smart. That's always my attitude. If you're negotiating, why do you say these things if there's a chance it could not happen? You're going to look like a fool.
You remember what Aunt Lola used to say, the less a man makes declarative statements, the less likely he is to be proven a fool in retrospect. Actually, that wasn't Aunt Lola. I think that was in a movie. But nevertheless, he could at least downplay it just to temper lowered expectations just a little bit. And then if he does get a raise and a big increase, he can pop them even further. But he's building the anticipation to the point where it might not be matchable with an increase.
Yeah, what do you think helps him more? Saying these things, making statements about what you're going to get, and also blaming WWE for all your problems, or just saying, we're in active negotiations, I can't comment any further until we're done, but then we'll have plenty to say?
Yes.
Well, that would help him a whole lot more, wouldn't it?
Well, because the Warner Brothers Discovery people that he thinks he's trying to put over and show respect for, and Mr. David Zaslav and all the great conversations that we have, they know what the talks are too. And he really looks like an idiot if he's telling this publicly to them. If he's telling this story publicly and it's not the story that's going on in private, they're saying, hey, Tony, things are tight. We're cinching up the belt.
What happens if Zaslav gets fired?
Well, the other guy was gone.
That's right. There's a whole
Kevin
lot,
Riley.
There's more heat and pressure on David Zaslav right now than Kevin Riley ever had in his whole life.
And then at that point, is here comes Brad Siegel or Jeff Schuster or whoever the fuck,
Neil Sean.
Neil Sean might cancel wrestling next. Well, hey,
any name we could think of.
Got to make way for the drum kit. So I think we love working with these people. We think it's been an excellent relationship. We're looking forward to expanding it, but we can't really comment on the specifics of ongoing negotiations. Certainly, we will let you know as soon as we have any updates to share.
Yeah, and the other important thing to say is that the storyline from wrestling journalists that Tony Khan trusts for the entire run of AEW has been, once they get that renewal, the company has made money. Remember, originally they said it was going to be the video game. I think we could all say now the video game's a massive bust. Not just a failure, it's a massive bust. It's a joke. They blew their shot at a video game, spending how many millions of dollars on it?
We heard 60 million, didn't we?
We heard a few different numbers. Who knows? A lot of money. We've seen rumors of what the contracts are. That's a lot of money. The production, a lot of money. The airfare, a lot of money. We were told that the renewal of the TV rights would be the thing that cures anything and shuts everyone up. And for it to work, Tony has to get a big increase. Tony also needs to get a streaming partner as part of it. If he doesn't, it's not a good deal. If you're going to still have these issues where the pay-per-views in various places, where the archive's not available anywhere online in an easy fashion, I think that's the thing. Tony needs for Victory to come away with a multi-year deal. He needs any kind of increase. I don't think he's going to get a massive increase like he's indicating here. He needs any kind of increase, and he needs streaming. He needs a partner for the pay-per-views and for the archive. That's a win. Anything other than that is not a win.
But it's not right now a win. It's an if.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Well, we will see what happens there. Jim, Tony Khan's looking a bit unruly. I saw video and photos of him at the San Diego Comic-Con. Looked like he hasn't slept in a few days. Looks like he could use a good shave.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I was thinking the same thing the last time I saw him, because he looks like Lon Chaney Jr. turning into the Wolfman. I think Tony needs to start shaving the backs of his knuckles. And have you seen the palms on Tony Khan?
No,
holy mackerel. Looks like a 70s nudist colony movie. His palms, I'm telling you. So all of these things could be rectified if he knew our friend Harry over at Harry's. Because if you're Harry, ladies and gentlemen, and you don't want to be, well, ladies, if you're Harry, it might, there is a market for that, but I don't think Harry's.
Let's leave the ladies alone, Jim.
Well, I wasn't molesting the ladies in any way. I just didn't want to give them bad advice. But most of the Harry's products would be for hairy men. But everybody knows Harry's, even the people who ain't hairy. Because most of the people who ain't hairy lost their hair because of Harry's. Harry's shave is an unbeatable value, and here's why. because they got German engineered blades made in their own factory. They stay sharp longer. Those Germans, they're vicious, right? They'll cut you. But they also have over at Harry's customizable delivery options for scheduled refills as low as $2. And you can get a 5-blade razor with a weighted handle and ergonomic design, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 to try this whole thing out. And Brian, now this is for your general head area. The top of your head or the underneath of your head, your chinal area, into the frontal occipital protuberance.
The facial area.
Facial and headal. Because you can go all around. Your face is not necessarily on the back of your head. Your
headal.
Actually, your face is closer to your chest than it is the back of your head. You shouldn't shave your ears with Harry's, but it's for most of the things around up above your shoulders, and it'll make them slicker than come on a gold tooth. And the foaming gel, it's richly lathering. They also have skin softening body wash and scents like redwood, wildlands, and stone, so you can smell like trees, woods, and rocks. And they've got extra strength, high quality, amazing smelling deodorant for just $5. If you are living in a cardboard box under the overpass, you could walk up and down the street and gather enough loose change to smell like a fucking New Orleans whorehouse on Saturday night. Just good. Just, smell that. That smells good. And they've got the highest customer satisfaction in the shaving industry. All of their customers are satisfied. If they get even an inkling you're not satisfied, they'll send you the really sharp blades, and that'll take care of that. You don't hear about the unsatisfied customers very much at Harry's. We try to downplay that. Brian, have you recently used your Harry's?
Well, I've been growing my facial hair for the summer, so I have not, except for some tidying up around the edges.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Why do you grow facial hair for the summer and then not for the winter? In the winter, you need to keep your face warm. Well, but in the summertime, your face is going to sweat.
I may do it again in the winter. I just look really good right now with a suntan and facial hair. It's really working for me. The chlorine in my hair, a nice terry cloth shirt. I look really good right now.
Folks, again.
How you looking?
Let's go.
How do you look right now?
I've got a t-shirt on, shorts that have holes in them, and fucking tube socks that have no elastic.
Why you have shorts with holes in it?
Because that's where it's most comfortable. That's where it gets the most wear. It's got the holes. That means there's something rubbing around there. So, so the less material you've got constricting your movement, the more comfortable it's going to be. What? They'll just pop out every now and then just because of that. But, well, the only people that see it, somebody comes up on my porch.
That poor dog.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Harley's used to him.
Well, again, I don't know where we went and how we got there.
Well, we were talking about the folks at Harry's.
Folks at Harry's.
The best shaving, you don't have to go in a store and pay a fortune for the daggum things that they've got to take the crowbar and pry the anti-theft device off. You don't have to do it. You just have them delivered to your door. You start out with the trial kit that's normally $13. You're going to get that for $3. You can't even get a bum on the side of the street to give you a shave for $3 anymore. And then once the bum gives you this trial set, he'll leave.
What do you mean anymore? Who went to a bum for a shave for $3?
You used to be able to get a bum to do almost anything for $3.
Why would you want them to shave you?
Well, it just depends on what you need them to do. I'm not going to judge, but they would do it for $3. But folks, right now, you can get a trial set of Harry's at harrys.com. That's HARRYS.com. No apostrophe in there. Harrys.com/JCE. You get your $13 trial set for $3. Try the foam, try the razor. Try the way that it smells and the way that it makes you feel, and feel about yourself and feel about the world around you. And go off whistling. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful shave. Plenty of more hair growing on my face, so I'm going to rake it with Harry's all over the place. Harry's.com
All right, well.
/JCE.